donuts, chicken nuggets, chips. Despite us knowing how absolutely terrible these foods are for our long-term health, filled with all kinds of artificial preservatives and ingredients, we still decide to indulge ourselves in some of these delectable foods like this chocolate donut covered in sprinkles. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining the analogy and the parallels between consuming these negative foods and the effect it has on your portfolio in terms of consuming negative assets. And I'm going to draw the parallels and the differences between consuming these negative foods and assets, between consuming these positive foods and assets, and incorporating these into your diet or portfolio, and about how this will actually gain the long-term success / long-term health of yourself and your portfolio. So without further ado, let me dive into this today. So as I was stating before, why do we actually indulge in these kind of foods? I mean, if we already know every day we're seeing articles, we're educating ourselves on how these foods are barely foods. They're more of like a chemistry experiment because they're just filled with all kinds of preservatives and things that we can't even classify as real food. I mean, if you look at the ingredient lists for any of these, I mean, half of them you're not even going to be able to pronounce because of what they put in it. But despite that, we still indulge into it. And the reason that is because when you eat these kind of foods, you get a specific dopamine rush that kind of latch onto your receptors, and it creates this chemistry reaction that just binds to your taste receptors, and it provides this kind of rush that is you don't really get from these real foods. And also the other benefit of these is just the ease of access. So obtaining and eating one of these is extremely simple. You could just go on your phone, you just pull up Uber Eats, you click 2 buttons, and within 20 minutes, it's going to show up on your lap. Any of these foods, it's very, very low effort, and all you have to do is just click a couple buttons, and even if you're out, you just go to a store, you pick it up, and you can eat it on the spot. Very, very low effort. And you can compare this to these low assets, these negative assets, as I like to call them. And for this example I'm taking here is Pepe. So for a lot of these assets that I'm going to explain, everyone has this same kind of mindset where they want to basically get rich within 2 days. They want that quick dopamine rush that you get from eating a donut. But just like eating this donut here, the long-term implications are going to be very critical for your portfolio. Well, if you're just eating donuts every day, just imagine what that will do to your long-term health, because there is no actual vitamins, there's no protein, there's no things to sustain yourself through the day-to-day. And the same can be said about trying to quote-unquote invest in these negative assets, because everyone just tries to get rich quick off of things like this. They want to just make $1 million the next day. Just like when you eat this donut, you want the dopamine the same day. And what ends up happening is once you just start chasing these rushes, when you hear about it, you just absolutely just get shredded every time, and there will ever be no point of return. Because just like this donut here, there is no value being offered in these negative assets. All it is just an illusion and a dopamine rush, just like how this donut is here. And we can flip over to the chicken nuggets, another negative asset food source. And for those of you that have been investing for a while, or who have been paying attention to Reddit over the past half a decade, you can remember this great short squeeze of GameStop and AMC. And this is another perfect example of short-term dopamine and trying to make millions of dollars quickly and just going to fail. Just like how when you order and eat these chicken nuggets, you are just going to fail long term, and your health is just going to keep declining. And it is the same principle here. When you hear your stomach growling, instead of actually putting in the effort and educating yourself, you want to do the quick fix, which is investing in this great short squeeze. So what ends up happening, just like in this scenario, is all of your exit liquidity will just end up buying at the top, and they will think it's going to keep going higher, But just like the chicken nuggets and your health, it is just going to keep degrading over and over long term. And eventually you'll just keep going back down to zero with no point of return, because just like these chicken nuggets, there is no value being provided. And again, this concept can go back again with the chips, and we can just take this meme coin, this shit coin. I just took fart coin. It is one out of the quadrillion that are out there, where it is the same concept, and it is essentially just glorified gambling, and it provides zero value and is just a way of people just trying to get rich quick. People think that what they'll do is they're going to buy here and it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up, and they're just going to make 20x on their money. But again, just like the previous chicken nuggets and the donuts, you're just going to be exit liquidity. You're going to be buying up here, and you're just going to suffer and be down 90%. So regardless of the situation, I could pull up a million of these charts. They're everywhere. And these are just why you want to avoid things like this. And it's the same reason why you want to avoid these foods. You don't want to be feeding yourself these negative foods filled with garbage, because it's just going to degrade your health over time. It is not going to satisfy your hunger. It's not going to provide you the vitamins, the minerals that you need to survive. All it is going to do is just degrade your health over time. Just as the same thing when you put these terrible assets into your portfolio, they are just going to degrade its value over time, and it's going to be left with nothing. Just as if you were to eat chips every day and only chips, you will just basically perish into nothing. So what should you do then? Just like with food, you need discipline, and you should be investing in good food. So you know how we took this example of the donut with the Uber Eats app? The same principle cannot be applied to something like this steak. This takes effort to get to this point and consume something of this rich in protein and minerals. It is not something that you could get with the click of a button. It is something that you have to actually get up. You have to drive to your butcher or to the grocery store. You have to obtain the food, bring the food back. You have to prepare it, season it, cook it, let it rest, and then you can actually indulge into it. And the same thing can be said about a great positive asset. Not only is it more rewarding because it takes a lot more time and the end result is better long term for your health, the same thing can be said about these positive assets, such as Bitcoin. It is the same exact concept here. When you look at these downfalls, you can equate this to the same thing as going to the grocery store, seasoning the food, preparing it, all that effort and time it takes. But just like preparing the steak and eating it, for the long term, you will reap the rewards, just as how your health will reap the rewards by actually fueling your body with real minerals, real food, real vitamins. And the same thing can be said about the sides you're going to cook for it, such as this asset, NVIDIA. Same principle here. When you have your broccoli, you need to cook your broccoli. You need to, obtain your strawberries. These are just, they might not provide you that same dopamine rush as some greasy chicken nuggets. But if you're able to obtain these, you eat these, it is the same thing. Over the long term, you will just reap the rewards. And again, you have these downfalls. But again, these downfalls are just the trade-off of like you eating some broccoli, you having the strawberries and the fruits, instead of indulging in the sugar rush of the donut or the quick and easiness of the chips. Taking the time and effort and deciding what to actually put in your body can be equated to the same thing as doing the research, understanding, having a low time preference and conviction in quality assets such as NVIDIA here, where over time you will reap the rewards. And ultimately, this is just the lesson that I want to say of this video, is you want to start treating your portfolio the same way you treat your diet. You don't want to be having these short-term kind of perspective where it's quick, it's easy, and it tastes good, because that's what you get when you invest in charts like this. It's quick, it tastes good, and it's easy. But once you get to that point, aka a few weeks, a few months down the line, it all of a sudden doesn't start feeling so good. just exactly like your health. As time goes on, the asset degrades, and as time goes on, your own health degrades. And what I would actually recommend is you go on this website called Deck Screener, and you could just look at a million of charts like this. You could just go to the front page and click on any of these shit coins, take a click, and the chart will look exactly the same. It will look exactly the same. And the reason why I want you to do this is just as a reminder that it is never worth the short-term dopamine, because if it's too good to be true, it likely is. Just like if someone introduces to you some donut that has every vitamin, mineral, fat source that you need to survive, and it tastes just as good, I guarantee you it's too good to be true. Just like how all of these meme coins are too good to be true, and you put your money in it and you just are down 90%. Same thing for any of these meme stocks, anything based on hype, it is not worth it. It's the same thing as going to a drive-through, eating these chicken nuggets. What you want to do is have a low time preference and actually understand, have conviction in the assets, and then long term you reap the rewards, just so how long term you'll reap the rewards of eating some quality foods. Anyways, that is my rant for today. I hope that you have taken something from this video and can maybe incorporate this analogy into your own life and understand that fueling your portfolio with good food is what you want to be doing. You don't want to be fueling it with negative food. So anyways, that's it from me. If you enjoyed today's video, I hope that you can subscribe and leave a like. And additionally, if you like this comment, I suggest you checking out my previous video I made, and there should be a link that pops up on your screen right now. And it's essentially about how real estate might not be the greatest investment of all time. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.